You wake up one morning and something feels different. Not painful, not dramatic, just impossible to explain. Your eyes open before the alarm. The room feels the same, yet somehow it doesn't. The air feels heavier, but your body feels lighter. You stand up, expecting the usual slow start, but your balance is perfect. Your breathing is deeper without trying. Even your heartbeat sounds quieter, as if it no longer needs to fight for your attention. Most people would ignore these small changes. They would blame better sleep, less stress, or pure luck. But what if none of those answers were true? What if the moment you are living right now was already written long before you were born? No one tells you this because almost no one notices it while it is happening. The body does not always change with noise. Sometimes the biggest changes arrive in complete silence. Before the mind understands, before your emotions catch up, your body begins moving into a new pattern. It is not asking your permission. It is not waiting for your belief. It simply starts. Think about the last few weeks. Have you felt tired, even after resting? Have random memories appeared from years ago without warning? Have you looked at familiar places and somehow felt they no longer belong to the same version of you? Maybe your sleep became strange. Maybe you wake up at the exact same time every night. Maybe certain people suddenly disappeared from your life without any clear reason. Most would call these strange coincidences. But what if they are not coincidences at all? What if they are signs that your entire system has already started recalibrating before your conscious mind even noticed? Imagine your body like an instrument that has been playing the wrong note for years. You became used to the sound. Everyone around you became used to it too. Then one day, without warning, something invisible begins tuning every string. During that process, nothing feels normal. Some notes sound too high. Others disappear completely. It feels confusing because the old version is fading while the new one is still incomplete. This is where many people panic. They think something is wrong. They rush to return to who they were. But the awakened one stays still long enough to hear the new music. Here's the strange part. The recalibration never starts with the outside world. It starts deep inside your awareness. Before your habits change, before your decisions change, before your future changes, your inner signal changes first. It is so quiet that only a few people ever notice it. Yet once it begins, life starts reacting in unexpected ways. Conversations become different. Certain opportunities appear from nowhere. Some doors close without explanation, while others open with almost no effort. It feels as if reality itself has started responding to a frequency you didn't know you were sending. And then something even stranger happens. The people who always understood you begin acting distant. Meanwhile, complete strangers seem to recognize something in you they cannot explain. They trust you faster. They listen more carefully. They remember your words long after the conversation ends. You start asking yourself one question over and over again. Why is everyone reacting differently when I haven't changed anything? But that question hides a much bigger truth. You have changed. You just haven't caught yourself changing yet. There is one detail almost nobody talks about because it sounds unbelievable until it happens. During this recalibration, your body often knows the truth before your mind is ready to accept it. Your instincts become stronger. Your chest feels heavy when someone lies to you. Your energy drops the moment you enter the wrong place. At the same time, you feel strangely alive in places that never mattered before. It is almost as if your body has developed a language your thoughts cannot translate. And once that silent language begins speaking, there is no way to force it back into silence. But what you are experiencing now is only the beginning. Because the real reason your body started recalibrating has nothing to do with health, age, or chance. Someone, somewhere, never expected you to discover what this process actually leads to. And the moment you understand the hidden trigger behind it, you will never see yourself or your reality the same way again. The hidden trigger is not outside you. It never was. It begins the moment your old identity can no longer carry the level of awareness that is trying to enter your life. This is the part almost everyone misunderstands. They think awakening is about learning something new. But real awakening is often about losing the parts of yourself that were built from fear. Your body notices this long before your mind agrees with it. That is why the recalibration feels confusing. One day you feel full of energy. The next day you want complete silence. One moment you feel deeply connected to life. The next moment you want to step away from everything. These changes are not random. They happen because two different versions of you cannot control the same body forever. Have you noticed how some habits suddenly feel empty? Music you once played every day no longer touches you. Endless scrolling leaves you tired instead of entertained. Conversations that once lasted hours now feel forced after only a few minutes. It is not because the world became boring. It is because your inner signal is no longer matching the old pattern. Imagine trying to listen to a radio station that has already changed its frequency. No matter how much you turn the volume up, all you hear is noise. Your awareness is moving to a different frequency, and your body is adjusting to keep up. This is where many people make a mistake. They fight the process. They force themselves to go back to old routines. They stay around people who drain them because it feels familiar. They ignore the quiet voice inside because logic tells them nothing has changed. But every time they ignore that signal, the body speaks louder. Rest becomes more important. Your emotions become stronger. Your focus moves away from things that once controlled your attention. It almost feels like your own system is refusing to cooperate with the life you used to live. Now think about this. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt uncomfortable without knowing why? Or met someone who smiled at you, yet something inside whispered, "Be careful." Most people dismiss these moments. But during recalibration, those quiet feelings become impossible to ignore. Your body starts detecting patterns before your thoughts can explain them. It notices energy, intention, and emotional weight faster than your conscious mind. It is like having a warning system that suddenly comes back online after being silent for years. Then reality begins responding in ways that seem impossible. You think about someone you have not spoken to in years, and they contact you that same day. You delay a trip for no clear reason, only to later discover something unexpected happened there. You feel pulled toward a book, a message, or even a random video that answers a question you never spoke out loud. At first, these moments seem like lucky accidents. But when they keep happening, you begin asking a different question. Is something guiding this? Or am I finally noticing what was always there? Here is the part that surprises almost everyone. The recalibration is not making you into someone new. It is removing everything that kept you from seeing who you already were. Layer after layer, old fears begin losing their grip. Old beliefs stop feeling true. Even your reactions change without effort. Situations that once made you angry now leave you calm. People who once controlled your emotions no longer have the same power. You do not force this change. It simply happens. Quietly. Naturally. Almost as if another version of you has been waiting patiently beneath the surface all along. But there is one final sign that tells you the process has reached a point of no return. It is a sign so subtle that most people miss it completely. The day it appears, you will realize your body is no longer following your old reality. Instead, your reality has started following your body. And that is where everything becomes far more mysterious than anyone ever warned you about. There comes a moment when you stop chasing answers, because answers begin finding you. It does not happen in one dramatic event. It happens through small moments that feel almost impossible to ignore. You think of a question, and within hours someone mentions it. You wonder whether you should take a different path, and suddenly an unexpected opportunity appears. You hesitate before making a decision, and something inside tells you to wait just a little longer. Later, you discover that waiting changed everything. This is where people often say, "The universe is sending me signs." But what if the signs were always there? What if the only thing that changed was your ability to notice them? Imagine wearing glasses with dark lenses your entire life. The world was never dark. Your vision simply could not see the full picture. During recalibration, those invisible lenses begin falling away. You start seeing connections that were hidden in plain sight. Your body plays the biggest role in this process. Every cell carries information. Every heartbeat sends signals through your nervous system. Science already shows that your brain and body constantly exchange information through electrical activity. Your heart, your nerves, and your brain are always communicating. Now imagine becoming more aware of those signals instead of ignoring them. Suddenly, your intuition feels stronger, not because magic appeared, but because you are paying attention to information that was always present. Then something unusual starts happening with time itself. Days seem to move faster, yet certain moments feel stretched, almost frozen. 5 minutes can feel like an hour during deep reflection, while an entire week disappears before you realize it. Many awakened people describe this as if reality has changed speed. In truth, your attention has changed. When your awareness shifts, your experience of time shifts with it. The clock stays the same, but your relationship with it becomes completely different. At the same time, people around you begin reacting in unexpected ways. Some become curious about you without knowing why. Others suddenly avoid you. Friends who once agreed with everything you said now challenge you over the smallest topics. Family members may tell you that you seem different, even though you cannot explain what has changed. This is not because you are trying to become someone else. It is because your energy, your confidence, and your way of responding are no longer predictable. When one person changes deeply, every relationship connected to that person begins adjusting too. And then comes the test almost everyone faces. Just as you start trusting this new awareness, old fears return one last time. Doubt whispers, maybe you imagined all of this. Old habits invite you back because they feel comfortable. Familiar distractions suddenly become more tempting than ever. It almost feels as if life itself is asking one simple question. Will you return to who you were, or will you continue becoming who you are meant to be? Many people fail at this point because they expect the path to become easier. Instead, the challenge becomes more subtle. The battle is no longer against the outside world. It is between your old programming and your new awareness. Every choice strengthens one of them. Every thought feeds one direction. Slowly, almost without noticing, one version of you becomes weaker while the other grows stronger. But there is something no one tells you about this stage. The recalibration has already reached deeper than your thoughts. It has begun changing the way you respond before you even have time to think. And hidden inside that change is one ability that most people never unlock. A quiet shift that makes reality seem to answer you in ways that cannot be explained by chance alone. That is the moment when the journey stops being about awakening and starts becoming something far more powerful. Most people believe power looks loud. They imagine confidence means speaking the most, proving the most, or controlling every situation. But after your recalibration reaches this point, something unexpected happens. The strongest part of you becomes the quietest. You no longer feel the need to convince everyone that you are changing. You stop chasing approval. You stop explaining every decision. The silence that once felt lonely now feels peaceful. And strangely enough, that silence begins changing the way the world responds to you. Have you noticed how some people seem uncomfortable when you no longer react the way they expect? Someone tries to pull you into an argument, but you simply smile and walk away. Someone criticizes you, expecting an emotional response, yet you remain calm. At first, they think you do not care. The truth is something much deeper. Your body has stopped wasting energy on battles that no longer belong to your future. That alone changes everything. This is because your nervous system is learning a new pattern. Instead of reacting first and thinking later, it begins creating a small space between the event and your response. That tiny space is where real transformation begins. In the past, anger would control you before you even realized it. Fear would make decisions for you. Stress would become your normal state. Now, something different happens. You notice the emotion, but you are no longer trapped inside it. Imagine standing beside a river. Before, every strong current pulled you into the water. Now you stand on the shore and watch it pass. The river is still there. The current is still strong, but you are no longer carried away by it. That is what recalibration truly feels like. Life does not suddenly become perfect. Challenges still appear. Difficult people still exist. The difference is that your inner system is no longer controlled by every storm that passes through it. Then another strange pattern begins to reveal itself. The opportunities you once chased now seem to come toward you naturally. A conversation leads to another conversation. A small decision opens a much larger door. Someone unexpectedly offers help exactly when you need it. It feels almost impossible to explain. It is not that reality is suddenly working only for you. It is that your attention has become clear enough to recognize opportunities that your old mind would have ignored. But every gift comes with responsibility. The clearer your awareness becomes, the more careful you must be with your focus. Whatever you feed with your attention grows stronger. Feed fear, and fear expands. Feed peace, and peace becomes your foundation. Feed purpose, and your actions begin moving in one clear direction. This is why awakened people guard their attention so carefully. They understand that attention is not just where the eyes look. It is where life begins to move. Then comes the moment almost nobody expects. One ordinary day, you look back at the person you were only a few months ago, and it feels like remembering someone else's life. The worries that once kept you awake seem strangely small. The habits you believed you could never break no longer control you. The version of yourself that always searched outside for answers has quietly disappeared. Without realizing it, your body completed a change that your mind spent years trying to force. But the journey is still not over, because there is one final stage of recalibration that very few people ever reach. It does not just change how you think, it changes how you experience reality itself. And once that final shift begins, there is no returning to the person you used to be. The final stage does not announce itself. There are no flashing lights, no voice from the sky, no single moment where everything suddenly makes sense. Instead, it arrives so quietly that many people almost miss it. One morning you wake up, and the constant noise inside your mind is gone. The questions that once demanded immediate answers no longer control you. For the first time in years, you feel completely present. Not because every problem disappeared, but because something inside you stopped living in fear of what might happen next. This is the moment when your body and your awareness begin working together instead of pulling in opposite directions. Before, your thoughts would say one thing while your instincts whispered another. You felt divided. You doubted yourself. You searched for certainty outside because you could not hear your own inner guidance. But now, those two voices begin speaking as one. Decisions become simpler. Not because life becomes easy, but because your inner signal becomes clear. Have you ever met someone who enters a room without trying to impress anyone, yet everyone notices them? They are not the loudest person. They are not seeking attention. Still, people naturally turn toward them. Many think this comes from confidence alone. But confidence is only part of it. The deeper truth is that people sense consistency. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, others feel that stability even if they cannot explain why. This is why your relationships continue changing. The people who only knew the fearful version of you may struggle to understand this new calm. They might say, "You've changed." They are right, but not in the way they imagine. You did not become someone else. You stopped pretending to be someone you were never meant to remain. And while some people quietly drift away, others appear at exactly the right time, as if they were waiting for this version of you to exist. Then something fascinating begins happening with your goals. You stop chasing every opportunity just because it looks exciting. Instead, you become more selective. You naturally ask yourself simple questions. Does this bring peace? Does this move me forward? Does this match the person I am becoming? If the answer is no, walking away becomes easier than holding on. That single change saves years of wasted energy. Many people imagine awakening as reaching a final destination, but that is one of the biggest misunderstandings. Awakening is not the finish line. It is the moment you stop living on autopilot. Every day after that becomes another chance to choose awareness over habit, purpose over fear, and clarity over confusion. The recalibration never truly ends because life keeps inviting you to grow in new ways. And perhaps the most surprising part of all is this. The extraordinary life you were searching for does not suddenly appear from somewhere else. It slowly grows out of ordinary moments. The way you breathe, the way you listen, the way you respond when no one is watching. Those quiet choices shape your future more than dramatic events ever could. That is the hidden secret behind the recalibration. It is not changing the world around you first. It is changing the person who experiences that world. So if these changes sound familiar, if you've noticed old habits fading, stronger intuition, shifting relationships, or a growing sense of inner calm, perhaps your journey has already begun. Whether you see these experiences as personal growth, heightened self-awareness, or a spiritual awakening, the important question is the same. What will you choose to do with the person you are becoming? Because the next chapter of your life will be written by that answer and by no one else. As you sit with that question, another realization begins to appear. Maybe this video did not change you. Maybe it simply gave a name to something you were already experiencing. Sometimes we spend years searching for one sentence that finally helps everything click into place. Not because it creates a new reality, but because it helps us recognize the one we have been living all along. Take a moment and think about where you were 1 year ago. Think about the fears that felt impossible to overcome. Think about the worries that kept repeating in your mind. Some of them no longer exist. Others became much smaller than you expected. At the time, you thought you were simply surviving. Looking back, you can see that every challenge was quietly teaching you something. Every setback forced you to develop patience. Every disappointment showed you where your energy truly belonged. Even the moments that felt like failure became part of your growth. That is why the recalibration often feels invisible while it is happening. We notice the destination more easily than the journey. A tree does not become tall in one night. It grows little by little, day after day, until one morning everyone notices its height. Your inner growth works the same way. Small changes in the way you think, speak, rest, and respond slowly become a completely different life. This is also why comparison becomes meaningless. Everyone's path unfolds at a different pace. Some people experience change through quiet reflection. Others grow through difficult seasons. Some discover new purpose early in life, while others find it much later. None of these paths are wrong. Growth is not a race. It is a process that cannot be rushed. One thing remains true for everyone. The quality of your attention shapes the quality of your experience. What you repeatedly focus on influences your emotions, your decisions, and the habits you build over time. When you train yourself to notice gratitude, opportunities, and meaningful actions, your daily experience begins to feel different, not because reality magically changes, but because your mind is engaging with it in a healthier and more intentional way. So if your body feels different, if your thoughts are becoming clearer, if you feel pulled toward a more meaningful way of living, do not rush to fear those changes. Observe them. Learn from them. Stay curious. Real transformation is rarely loud. It usually begins with one quiet decision made over and over again. And remember this: no video, teacher, or book can complete your journey for you. They can inspire you. They can offer ideas. They can encourage reflection. But the real work happens in the choices you make after this moment. Every day you choose awareness over autopilot, honesty over illusion, and purpose over distraction. You strengthen the person you are becoming. If this message connected with your own experience, let it be the beginning of a conversation rather than the end of one. Share what changes you've noticed in yourself, what questions you're exploring, or what moments made you pause and rethink your path. Someone reading your story might realize they are not alone in theirs. And if you're ready to keep exploring topics like consciousness, personal growth, perception, and the fascinating connection between mind and body, stay with us. The next journey may begin with a single question that changes the way you see everything. Until then, keep observing, keep learning, and keep moving forward, because the most important transformation is not becoming someone else. It is becoming more fully yourself.